Alrighty guys, welcome back to my channel, Touched by an Angel Arts and Crafts. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make some really cool drink coasters for Halloween. Let me share my screen. Alright, there we go. So I have already picked a picture. I usually pick pictures from public domains, which means you can basically use the picture for personal or commercial, however you want to use it. There's nothing that you have to do. You don't have to like repost a link saying, hey, thank a shout out to this person who created this picture. You don't have to do any of that. You can use it. If you want to do that, then hey, feel free, go ahead and do it by all means. But I'm going to show you the steps of creating this cool little Freddy Coaster. We're going to turn this into a coaster. So how we do this, I am using Silhouette Studio Business Edition. I believe you can still use the same steps with this regular Silhouette Studio. So the first step, what we want to do is, because we have a border around this, and how you tell that you have a border around this picture is when you move the picture, the white space follows. So it's still there. We need to get rid of that. So what we want to do is click on our picture, go over to the right hand side and click the little toast. That's what I call it, little toast, little butterfly, whatever you call it. Select trace area. We want to trace this box. We basically just want to get Freddy Coaster. So we click it, then we let go, release, and then it'll bring our lines up. So we want the Glowforge to cut some pretty good lines. So we want to try to use our threshold. Sometimes you can play with the threshold, sometimes you can play with this scaling. I usually just try to play with the threshold until I get like a full, complete, nice little picture. So I think that's good. So what I'll do next is click trace. So now we have traced Freddy Coaster. So what we want to do to get rid of this white background now is to click the white background and click delete or backspace. In my case, I click backspace. So now we have double lines. You can see here, we have the double lines. So in order for the Glowforge to print those, or not to print them, but to engrave them as solid lines, let's select our picture. We're gonna go up to the top to the left hand side. It is blank, but you hit that drop down menu, turn that into black. Also turn the lines to black. Now we have full Freddy Coaster image. So I don't like these little specks right here of these dots. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in the little magnifying glass with a plus. I am going to click on the picture. You want to right click, release compound. So this is going, well, it shouldn't have did that. Let me go back. Normally when you release compound, it does not turn black. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Usually that does work, but just for the sake of the video, I'm gonna go to the eraser tool. I'm gonna go up to the top and I'm gonna change the size of the eraser and take away these little specks. So you just want to move really slowly to get these specks off, because I don't want them there. I mean, you can leave them there, but I don't want them there. Okay, now you want to make sure that you go back up to the cursor. So now we're going to select. So let's say these lines were not thick enough. On the right hand side, you see like 2 solid lines and a dotted line. Click that. Right here where it says thickness, so you can move this bar up and down to make Freddy's lines. Actually, what it did is when it released compound, it only released this line. So I'm gonna pull this back. Always when I make a video, right? So I'm just gonna select him. So what it did was it did it late. That sometimes Silhouette does like a lag. Actually, a lot of times it's lagging. So it did do it, but it didn't do it very quickly in the amount of time I needed it to. So when you click on it, now you see it. But now we don't need it because I already erased it. So we are going to go back to that and press group. We're going to group it back together. Okay, so now let's go back to our lines. So let's say we wanted to thicken the lines. If you see the picture, you can see that the lines are getting super thick. Okay, so you can play with that to make your lines a little thicker. I'm probably gonna leave it somewhere right there. And I do see that there is a small line, or it's not a line, but a small dot there. Let's see what you can go. See a little small dot there. Go back to the cursor. Okay, so if you move something, just hit that arrow to press the back button. So we have Freddy the way we want it. You can tell when you hover over with the box that is still in release compound because you have these little boxes. So to fix that, we want to right click, press group, and Freddy is back to himself. So now we can move him. So of course, if we're making a coaster, Freddy has to be way smaller than this. I'm gonna make him a little smaller for now because one thing that we do need to do is because we don't have an outline around Freddy to cut him out in the Glowforge. All we did was make the picture so that way it will engrave. So as I'm moving this, you see the little dot down right to the left right here. I am going to delete that. Okay, go back up to the cursor. So now, in order to draw a line around him, what we need to do is create an offset. So we want to go to the star on the right where it says open the offset panel. Star to the right, open the offset panel. Now we want to click offset. So there we go. So now we have an offset around Freddy. Don't worry about these little lines in the inside. We'll take care of that a little later. But we want to make sure that we have a decent amount of space in between our engraving for Freddy to where we want to cut at. So I'm going to add a little bit of space is fine. So what I'm going to do, since I'm happy with that, I'm going to click apply. So it's thinking, it's taking a while. Like I said, Silhouette is like always lagging. Okay, so now it did it. So notice because this part is like almost, well, basically grayed out. This, you can't use this function. You see everything is like faded away. So click off of the picture, click back on. Now we are going to do release compound. So I right click and release compound. Let's see how fast it works this time. It did the same thing it did last time. Sometimes it does funky little stuff. I don't know. Let's see if it did it. So it did it. I don't know why it's being funky. So I'm gonna click the back button because I moved it. I want it to kind of stay in the same spot. So what I'm trying to do is click the outer line. So that's what you want to do. Find your outer line. Okay, got the outer line. So now we got the outer line. So Freddy is in a bunch of pieces, if you see, because we did release compound. Everything always happens on camera, right? So let's switch Freddy back to one piece. So we right click, we draw a box around it, we right click, and we do group. So now Freddy is back grouped. So now we want to bring our outline of Freddy. First, let's move this little Freddy over some so we can bring our outline over here. So we want to draw a box around it so that we can move it all in one piece. So it's actually grouped together. So we want to release compound so that we can delete all these little pieces in the inside. So I'm going to click off, and then I'm going to start clicking the inside pieces. You see this little hand, and then it turns into an arrow. A little hand, and then it turns into an arrow. When it's an arrow, you can hold your mouse and then drag over a few pieces to delete. Just make sure you don't delete the outside outline. So I'm going to grab as many pieces. See, it grabbed the outline. So I want to drag as many pieces as I can, and then I can start just deleting them one by one. A lot of people use these coasters for blanks to make in molds. That's exactly what I use them for. Sometimes I make a mold out of them, or they turn into coasters and I sit them on my table. I thought this would be really cool for Halloween. Okay, so our Freddy looks like it appears to have nothing in the inside now. So now we can use this as a cut outline. So listen very carefully. So we have this color in black, which we're going to tell the Glowforge to only engrave black. So we need to change this outline to a different color. So what, and this is just, everybody might do it differently, but this is just how I do it. So I change it to first you gotta click it, and then I change it to a different color. So we don't want to do our solid color because that will fill in Freddy. We just want to change the line color. So I'm going to make his line color blue now. And now I'm going to move Freddy in here, and it kind of like clicks right into its space. So I'm going to hover over, make a square. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to group. So now Freddy, now we can tell the Glowforge to engrave all of the black and cut the blue. So now the pieces are together, so now they're able to move. So now, because we're making these coasters are usually anywhere between 3.5 and 4. I don't know, I just usually do them to my liking, so pretty much up to you how big you want your coaster and how big of a piece of acrylic that you have. I usually cut with the 1/4 acrylic. There is a lag in silhouette, that's why you see me keep clicking on and off. So that's, if you look to the left in the bottom, in the middle, you'll see the color, not the colors, but the numbers go down. So we're at 4.6, we're at 4.5, our width is at 6. So go down to, I'm gonna make it about 4, a little over 4, that's fine. So now we have our Freddy. So I don't just only want to make just a coaster, right? I want Freddy to have something to sit in. So just for the sake of the video, I normally do like some cool little coaster bases. But let's say I just want to make just a regular base. So I'm going to go over here to drawing tools. Whether you want a square, a circle, a hexagon, whatever you want. I'm going to pick the little rounded rectangle, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. I don't want that to be filled in. I am going to change that to the little crisscrosses, and that will stop it from being filled in. Because I just want just this line. I'm going to change my thing back to a cursor. I'm going to change my cursor back to a cursor. See what I'm saying? So we want to change our base color because we already told the silhouette, or not the silhouette, but we already told the Glowforge that we wanted to cut in blue. We wanted to engrave in black. So now we want to tell the Glowforge our what color to cut. I'm just going to pick a different color, try to pick a lighter color so that we can see. So now that we made Freddy smaller, his lines are kind of going into each other, so I can change that. Leave it about there. Okay. So now we have our base. So I normally just take whatever design that I have, I take it and I put it in here. And I just see like how long of a cut do I need for Freddy to fit. So what this is telling me is I need a pretty significant length of a cut, right? So I'm gonna leave Freddy there. I'm gonna go back over to the drawing tools and go to, I'm gonna use the square for the cut. And I'm just gonna pretty much measure from the bottom, from like his left hand or his left arm to the right arm. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna use these little points at the bottom where the end of his arms are ending. So you'll see me draw it. So about there to about there. I don't want that to be solid, so I'm gonna use the crisscrossy. I'm gonna change this back to a cursor. I'm gonna move Freddy out the way. I'm gonna take my square over here and let's just, so I think that will work. Now, in order for me to attach that so it can be a tab under there so it can fit like right in to our little slots that we're gonna make. I also need to change this square size to 0, as far as the height, to 0.25. Because our acrylic is 1/4, so we want to change this to 0.25 as the height so that our Freddy will fit into there. So in order to add the tab, let's ungroup Freddy. We just want to try and get the outline. Okay, so we got our outline. So let's try, we're gonna move this up. We want it to overlap because if you don't make it overlap, if this little square isn't touching the outline of Freddy and we hit weld, it's not gonna weld. So we need to make sure it kind of overlaps. Once we do that, we make a box over both of those. Let's right click. Again, make a box, right click, and click weld. So now we have welded that so that it can fit into our lines that we're gonna make for our base. So let's take Freddy, put Freddy back over here, line them all up, get them into place. If it doesn't snap into place, click them, use your arrows to move them into place. So now we have Freddy's fitting perfect. Y'all see that? Freddy's fitting perfect. Let's group Freddy. We have Freddy grouped. So now we need to make some slots for Freddy to fit in. So I'm gonna go back over here. I'm gonna use the square. Need to make it a little longer, a bit longer than the actual square that we have. We don't want that filled in. Let's change it to the crisscrossy. Back to the arrow. We have some space at each end, so Freddy's tab can fit right on in there. So we'll just move this down to here. We'll align it. First, we need to go and change this to 0.25. 0.25. When you change this, make sure this is unlocked or else it will not stay. We can lock that back. Oh, wait a minute. Make sure you click enter. 0.25, enter. Now it should stay. So we got that one Freddy fitting into there. I could make it a little smaller, but that's okay. I'll leave it with a little space. So now since I made one, guess what? I can do Control, copy, Control V. We usually make about what, 4 coasters? So let's get 4 coaster lines on here, slots rather. I'm just copying and pasting, which is Control C, Control V for pasting. So I kind of want this kind of in the middle. I'm gonna leave some space in between. Then I'm gonna select it all. I'm gonna go up to the top. I'm gonna go right here where it says Align Center. So now we aligned it to the center. So now we only got one Freddy. We need more than one Freddy. So let's copy and paste Freddy 3 times. What I usually do, again, people may do this differently, but I don't know, just because I like making different colors. I'm gonna ungroup this, and I am going to change my outline and my Freddy line to a different color. We already have the dark blue, so now I can use a light blue. I'm gonna change Freddy to green. Green. And then I'm gonna group him. So there is Freddy there. We got Freddy here. Now we need to do the other 2 Freddys. So click it, ungroup, change our line to a different color, orange. Change our Freddy to a different color. And when you upload it into Glowforge, it's gonna say it's gonna take some time because there's multiple colors being used. I don't know. That's just how I keep up with the colors and keep up to, it's easy for me to be able to click to tell it, engrave this, cut this. So this is why I do it this way. You'll come up with your own ideas once you get the hang of doing this. Change that. Oh, let me ungroup that. So let me show you something. So see how we click our inner Freddy and it's showing black and purple, right? So it's purple, but we still have it as black, which I want to change that to purple as well. So now I'm gonna draw a box around this. Group. Got Freddy number 3. One thing that I noticed, I don't know if you guys see that. See this extra right here? I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna do release compound. Let's get rid of this one line there. Now I'm gonna group it back. Group that back. Let's go and take that out of all of them. So ungroup it. Release compound. Click that, delete it. Group it back. There we go. Same thing with this one. Right click and group. Release compound. Group it back. Group. So we got that one. We got this one. And we got this one finished. And let's do this one last one. Group. Release compound. And delete. Group it back. We want to change his colors. Make him a gray color. Well, they outline a gray color. My kids are probably going to come in being loud. Click that, change that color. I'm going to make this a dark green. Change our line color to dark green. And then we are going to put it back. Yes, that is my dog, guys, because the door is ringing. Doorbell is ringing. Bear with me just for a moment. Okay, I am back. So now we have all of our Freddies made, and we are ready to cut. So let's make sure all of our slots are the same size. We just want to click. So this is 0.250 by 2.858. 0.250 by 2.858. Same and same. We can make sure it's centered again. And it's centered. So now let's hover over this, draw a box, and right click and group. Yeah. So now this is what I do. Draw a box over all of the Freddies. Copy. Click the plus sign so we can put it on a different window. Copy and paste. Paste that. Click off of it and start placing our Freddies here. So then I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Save As, Save to Hard Drive. And I'm just going to click Freddy. I'm going to save as an SVG. And I have a folder called Glowforge. And then I'm going to click OK. So that is saved. Now I need to go back and save the base. So I can delete these now because I have them on the other page. Oops. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive. I'm going to put Freddy. Change that to SVG. So save as type, change it to SVG. I'm going to save it in my Glowforge project. So now that is saved. So you just created your very own coasters. So you would use this same method to make all of your other coasters. I hope you guys found this video useful. Please like and subscribe to my channel. If you're looking to purchase a Glowforge, the link is on the bottom where you can get a discount. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.
Oh, Angel. Hello, your voice is awesome.